Oh, good afternoon, everybody. And for those of you who can't join us, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching the recording. But for now, good afternoon, Louise. Thank
Hello.
you for joining us today. Um, wow, we're on the program. We are in the program. So we are, what, week four now? Week four? I think it's week four. Yeah. And
Scary.
we're on to fear, which is
Mm.
which is scary. Scary fear. Scary fear, which is yeah, an interesting one. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And as you'd have watched the video, we would have seen obviously all the interesting stuff that was said about fear and how to deal with it. And also there was a handbook, or sorry, a worksheet, I should say, in terms of collating and writing some of those elements down. And if you haven't done that yet, go do that because it's really important. Because when we write stuff down, remember, we're locking it in. Because Raz, we've covered off Raz. I can't remember now. Sorry, apologies. I've come straight off a coaching call. We haven't covered Raz. Okay, so there's this thing inside your brain, right at the top of your spine, about the size of a golf ball in its mass within your brain, and it's called your reticular activating system, your RAS, R-A-S, RAS. And it's the thing that lets you or tells you what to notice. So if you I think somebody's added all this up because I don't make these numbers up, but there are about 460,000 things that you could notice through all your senses, plus all the things you think about over and above that. Now, your brain's brilliant, but it can't handle that many. So it has to filter out because your brain can handle about 2,500 things at once. And I literally mean at once, which is incredible in its own right. So your RAS filters stuff out. So when we set ourselves, so if I say red car, red car, red car, if you went and got your car now, all you're going to see are red cars. And that's your RAS. So we're telling ourselves what's important to us. Even more than that, the activity of writing something down makes you concentrate and read and think as you write it down. So this is what we're telling our brain is important to us. And remember, our brain doesn't recognize the words don't or can't when written or when heard. It only hears what it is. So again, in positioning things, we want to have the positivity around that. So as we go through, it's about what you say to yourself when you buy yourself, about yourself. This is where all the fear comes from. Yeah, I'm no good at maths. Hopefully there's no maths in there, you know. I can't go up a mountain because I'm scared of heights. Something which I did last year, and I am scared of heights. But I'm not actually scared of heights, I'm just scared of falling. Now, for somebody who did fall down Scarfield Pike, and I did hurt myself quite a lot, it was the fear. I didn't die, and that's ultimately the fear. Because you kind of, although it was painful, when you know you can't get to a road for 4 hours, you kind of just have to get on with it. And it was because of that, yes, I might fall down and really hurt myself, but actually I fell down, and whilst I hurt myself, I could still walk for another 4 hours.
Mm.
So going through those elements, fear is just man-made,
Yeah.
person-made, sorry, to use right pronouns. Is person-made. In the fact that there's no such thing as fear if you make that up in your head, right? It's not. Now, because, and I say that, you say, well, hang on, surely the cavemen were afraid of, getting eaten by dinosaurs or whatever it was. Well, yeah, they were, but the sense, if we think about what fear is, what does it actually do to us from a physiological viewpoint? I'm glad to say that word properly. Our heart races. Our heart races. We get a bit clammy. Maybe the hairs on the back of our neck stand up, or we become highly alert. We're sensitive to what's going on. Now, if I put the word excitement before that, it's the same thing. If I put the word fear in front of that, it's the same thing. Your physical reactions to all of these things are the same thing. So what it's saying is be alert, be aware, take it in. Because as it says in the video, fear is all about false expectations appearing real. And what we're going to go through today, and Louise, thank you for coming on board, because we're going to go through some of your fears in that context, of false expectations appearing real. Because if they really happened, we wouldn't be here today. We've been fearful all our lives of various things. I won't get a good result in my GCSEs. Oh, that person will never find me attractive, we'll never get married. All that wonderful stuff and everything in between. I won't ever get that job. I'll never earn that much money. I'll never have that outside. All that sort of stuff. Yet here we are achieving our dreams. And whilst we may not actually be at the final point yet, we're on our way. By you being here today and going through this program, you're making a step change. You're progressing forward to get closer to where you want to be. And the great news is, by doing this in the community, it's all about the journey. So we're having a great time while we do it too, aren't we, Louise?
We are.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, all right. So let's crack into some of these fears and go through that. Obviously, in the video, went through and talked about ways of recognizing, coping, dealing with, and removing to a certain extent some of the fears. So, firstly, Louise, did you go through the worksheet that was attached?
Certainly did.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. And on the worksheet, let's just, if you don't mind sharing, can we go through the sheet and let's just talk about some of these things?
Absolutely.
Fabulous. So, would you like to first of all just explain, as you went through each section of the worksheet, and what were your responses?
Yeah. So basically, it was how to overcome fear. So it touched on the acknowledgement about facing it, surrounding yourself with support, and then focusing on your vision.
Yes.
From my point of view, is most probably it's partly fear of unknown. So you're trying to second guess what may be coming up, and then you use your energy up for that. The other one, from me, if I'm being really honest with myself, is the fear of imperfection.
Okay, right.
And it's quite funny because it doesn't come across in everything that I do. It's a bit contrary. So I can be very philosophical about something. It's like, well, that is life and that's the way it is, and let's just move forward. And other people will be going, oh my God, this is, it's terrible. And I'm like, that's fine. And then something else that somebody would not like, my thing is rolling something out and it's not quite right yet.
Okay.
So what I would then do is hinder myself. So I go, oh, that's not quite right yet, so let's not roll that out yet. And it's like, and it's kind of it's a fear that's driving it. But there's also procrastination at play, and then you'll go and find something else, and then I don't know, you'll come up with your next best idea and then want to work on that, and then you come to the next level again of that. So you find the fear attached to that, or that's now not going to be good enough, is it? So let's go back to the original thing, and then you're losing momentum all of the time. You're kind of going back over old ground. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really interesting about that is, and thank you for being so candid and sharing openly. What's interesting about that is the fact that you've actually narrowed it down to two. So the recognition, acknowledgement in the first place is the biggest step forward. Because again, in terms of the point of power, where our mindset and where we're below the point of power, we're using blame, excuse, and denial. As soon as you acknowledge it, you move above the point of power to where we have responsibility, accountability, and ownership. So it's the hardest step to do, and do consistently. So I applaud you for that. So if we just take the second one first, just because that's more mindful. The first, in fact, before we do all of that, one thing you said earlier on, I'm trying to. Now, I think we've had a conversation about trying.
We have, suitably noted.
But for those who are watching the recording and may not have gone through that wonderful experience, I'm just going to relive it for Louise.
What did I say I'm trying? Because it's a my other favourite, which I know is a no-no, is I know. And I'm not trying. I don't know. I'm doing my best to stop that, but it's.
And it's a really interesting point, because as you acknowledge there, Louise, when we say trying,
I know. There we go.
For the benefit of those who are watching the recording, when we say the word trying, we let ourselves off, or we don't put the effort in or acknowledge success. So I tried to do that, or I'm going to go and try and do that. So if I go and try and turn up to your party on Friday night, likelihood of me doing it, less than 100, right? Probably less than 50. But if I tried that, even if it's less than 50, we still want to recognize the 40 odd percent that we achieved. So the try only belongs on a rugby pitch. We do not try. We're either moving towards or we recognize what we've achieved. Okay? So you're either doing it or you're not.
Yeah.
So that's just a reminder for everybody, because it is a mindset thing, and it gives you reward when you acknowledge all the stuff that you do. Because there are steps that you've already taken. So coming back to imperfection. So when we're thinking about this, because perfect isn't. Perfect isn't. It takes too long. Certainly in business. When time is the only thing we're never going to get back. Right? We can always earn more money. Always have more children. All that wonderful stuff, right? We can all do everything again apart from get that time back. So in terms of perfection and slowing yourself down, we have a fear that, have you gone through the exercise of the if it does, if it doesn't? So
I think I've done it before. It wasn't in this session, was it?
It was, no, sorry, it's not in the workbook, but
no.
okay, so a wider exercise to do is to, and it's 3 columns. So the first one, what is the fear? Okay, so we've got fear of imperfection, but does that come across in everything that you do, or is it particularly work related?
Predominantly work related.
Okay, all right, we'll sort of stick with that. So we've got a project or something to roll out, and just give an example of something that you've rolled out or working on right now.
It will be a new email campaign to launch something new.
Great, okay, fantastic. So a new product or service email campaign. Fabulous. So second column is, so we have our fear of it not being perfect, and therefore what would happen?
It doesn't come across as very professional.
Okay, well this is great, right? So not coming across as very professional. So if the email, you're writing the email, why do you think it's not going to come across professional?
There's a few. As I said, it's a great subject. You just have to cut me off because I could go on for hours about it.
No, we'll just focus on this one particular one that you've got in mind. Right?
The thing would be, is it on topic? I would go through, have you done your homework enough? Are you talking to your ideal client? Is it enough content? Is it too much content? Is it grammatically correct? So that's just a couple.
There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. So let's just dig a little bit deeper. So you send the email out. The fear is the email goes out and it's not professional enough. Which actually underneath that is we're not sure, or we're fearful that it'll be too extreme, not enough. The wording isn't the language people want to hear. All the things. So why won't your email be written correctly?
It would be that I haven't put the planning in.
Okay. So why
haven't got. Say that again.
So why wouldn't you put the plan in?
I wouldn't, and this is the thing: is that I do that.
Okay.
I'll give the current one. I've got draft. I've been breaking it down. It's been a goal that I've been working on. So I'm working on a 12-week content plan.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I'm not in that predicament.
Okay, so let's think of this particular one. So what predicament are you in? Because what's stopping you from writing it the way it should be written, in your opinion?
At the moment, nothing, because I've been working hard. Well, I don't know if it's working hard, but I've been working on the ideal client.
Yeah.
I think I've sussed that.
Right.
I think the underlying thing is I think there's more work. I know that there's more work to be done on that. It's just I now know that I've got my outline, but there's more digging to do about that. I feel that I'm trying to create this content plan while the niggle in the back of my head is, have you done enough work on your ideal client before you even start this?
Okay. So firstly, you're not trying, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And working on your ideal client. So what could you do to find out if you've done enough work on your ideal client?
Market research, review where I'm at with the ideal client, review their pain points, review
Right.
the
So you
desires.
haven't done these things, or you have done these things already?
I've done them.
Yeah, great, okay.
However, because this is the closest I believe that I've got to knowing this is my ideal guest or my ideal client, I know that there is more work to do on it
Because
I don't feel that I have got the true essence of them yet.
Okay. So who would know if you've got the true essence of them yet?
The ideal client, the ideal guest.
Okay. And so who do you think is best to ask if you've got enough detail on them?
Them, and I've already just started that. I've put out what it is. I've got 3, and I've narrowed it down, and then I've now, well, what is the priority one out of all of these? Because otherwise I'll spread myself thin going across each 3. So I've gone to what I believe the priority one. I believe the priority one is. The only thing is, I think there's 2, and I think the one that I'm going for is the one that I want to work with more, and the other one could potentially be more profitable, but I'm going with who I resonate more with.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at, and I've actually got, I think at this stage, I need to double check, but I've put out to about 6 people, and I've now got, I think, 3 confirmations, but I'd need to check that.
Okay, right.
Market research.
So if we play that back for a second, so we're worried about the campaign. We're afraid the campaign's going out and it's not going to be correct for whatever reason. Okay, professional enough, not the right content, all that wonderful stuff. We're worried about that because we're not sure that it's targeted properly towards the target market, although we do know the target market and we've asked them for their opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So they're going to give their opinion and then you'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so why is this a fear?
Who knows, Jeremy?
Well, you do. So you're the one who wrote it down. So
I know, but I'm putting the. I think one of the things that I notice is looking at those sneaky obstacles, and I think the obstacle is the self-sabotage of, is it good enough? Are you ready? Have you got all your your ducks in a row? That's getting to the underlying it, and it's not. This isn't a real. This is what I would say to myself. This isn't a real fear. This is a learning curve. So I know. I feel I know that it's irrational, but it frustrates. And this is just like one little thing that I'm talking about at the moment. But that's the kind of thing that does cause me to stop in my tracks, then go on to something else. So like, for instance, I could then go, right, I've not sussed that, but I'm now going to revise the website.
Yeah.
But it's no good revising the website until I've gone back to that first fundamental thing.
Okay, so the fear about getting it wrong, if we think about that for a second, because it sounds like you've got a plan in place to make sure it's not wrong, by the way, but that's just the point of exercise. We've got the 3 columns, we've got the fear, named it, what the fear actually is. So it's the fear of this going out, and actually it's not the fear of it going out incorrectly, it's the outcome of it going out correctly, being the return won't be as great as it possibly could. That's really the fear. Yeah. So when we're doing this, our brain, if that's what you believe, remember in our identity iceberg, our belief system will inform our skills and everything else, and it comes through. And you'll look to find things to support your beliefs, whatever they may be. So we want to do the same. So we want to find, in the second column, evidence that it's real.
Yeah.
And conversely, in the third column, we want to find evidence it's not real.
Yep.
All right. So if the fear is it goes out, we don't get any responses, don't sell anything, and the business goes bust, whatever it might be. Yeah. In the extreme. So what evidence is that to prove that?
None.
None?
No,
Sure.
what do you mean? There's no evidence to support that you would go bust. Is that what you meant? Sorry,
Yeah,
John.
I mean, I use that as an extreme, or whatever,
Yeah.
saying that there would be zero return on your email. So nobody's going to respond because it wasn't
Yeah,
right.
so there is a chance that people won't.
Oh, I'm looking for evidence, not
Evidence.
hearsay.
No, I can't think of what evidence that would be there.
Yeah. So, and that's a good thing in terms of, okay, I can't think of anything. So, a couple of things we might do, because we're only covering off one particular subject, this applies to everything. So, you could Google it. Simple as that. Reading newspaper, whatever it might be, depends on the fit. We could Google it. Or we could go, hang on a sec, have I ever done this before? Have you ever sent out an email before in a marketing perspective way? Okay. And of those emails that you sent out, have some worked and some not worked? Do you know the ratio?
No.
Okay. So again, we might want to go back and say the last 5 emails I sent out, I sent it to 1,000 people and I got 4 responses. Okay. So 1 didn't work if you got 1 from each of the 5, 4, and then obviously 1 didn't work. So okay, 1 didn't work. Why is that? So now your fear is only 20% true.
Yeah.
But then we want to find evidence it's not going to happen. Well, that's the 80% that get a return. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's about acknowledging it, and then we get to the whole fact of the mind. Yeah, well, that might be true, but I still don't believe it because your belief is really strong, right? It's really strong. And now we're going to get the supportive information of, okay, we've looked at it, we've acknowledged it, we're seeking support. So whilst that's I think it's number 3 in the 4 points. We're seeking support from others. The others being my target market, somebody who's been generous enough to review my email and say, yeah, that really works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. So, well, in fact, number 2. So I'm just looking at my notes. So we acknowledge it, we face it, which you've done by writing it down. So we're going through the process. The third one is surround yourself with support. You're here. We're talking about it now. We've got community. You've got a target market person that you can approach, or people that you can approach.
Yeah.
And then we need to focus on the vision.
Yeah.
So again, as we go through this process, we talk about marketing and marketing is investment and blah, 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 and you'll get onto those bits and pieces. But if you sent out this email in its current form, with maybe a couple of tweaks from this person, we send it out, and you send it out. How many people do you think you're going to send it out to, roughly?
Well, this is because it's brand new. What I've done is I've broken it down. So I've got a blog. I'm taking from the blog. I've written an email.
Yeah.
From the email, I've created an Instagram post.
Okay.
And that's what I want to do across 12 weeks. So I've done 3 so far.
Okay, great. So
what I want to it's actually to start to generate interest. So it's not necessarily to get a booking or a sale. It's generating interest in the new product.
And how do you measure that?
I don't know, to be totally honest with you, but how I plan on measuring it is by noticing how many then people sign up to the email address. That was my plan.
Great. So we're working. So the premise is, remember, SMART goals. When setting goals, specific, measurable. We've got to be really clear on that, especially with marketing.
Yeah.
We have an understanding of what the outcome is that we want from every piece of marketing. And if it's just signposting or going down a funnel, whatever it might be, we start to get numbers. So as you put that blog out, you then want people to sign up to the email.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So how many people do you want to sign up?
How many people would I like to sign up? 200.
200. Okay. And how many people is the blog going out to?
At the moment, most probably about 50.
Okay. So is that a realistic goal or what?
Most probably not. But what I'm hoping is that with the... Say it again?
Hope is not a strategy.
No, what I'm hoping is that because I'm looking at it from a 3-point view, that it's the website, it's the email,
Mhm.
and it's the Insta,
Yeah.
that there will be some increase in people signing up from the website and from the Insta post, not
Right.
just relying on the current
Got it.
list.
Okay. So there could be 200. How many people look at your Insta posts?
I haven't. Again, this is another thing. I haven't even set it up yet.
Okay.
It's set up, but nothing's been posted yet. So this is all literally brand new.
Got you, got you. And the reason I'm putting this is because I want you to achieve success, because what you're doing is successful. However, well, there is no however, but remember, smart, it has to be realistic,
Yeah.
it has to be achievable.
Shall I tell you, just quickly going back to from a fear point of view, it's because I've not approached it from this. What I've been working on is like this multi-layered approach.
Yes.
I've done different things in the past with how I've marketed, and I've not used social media to this degree. I've not had the website where it's at, and I haven't done a formal email campaign where I'm going. So I think, again, it's the unknown of the whole strategy of how I'm working. So I've been theorizing. So now I'm now doing, and that's most probably where part. So there's the fear, the imperfection comes in, because I know what I'm like when I've written something before. Is it good enough, etc. But now I'm actually doing things that I've never done before.
Okay, right. And so who's teaching you how to do them properly?
I've joined a marketing club for hospitality business.
Okay, and do they specialize in Insta?
They have, again, she's a marketeer and she owns her own glamp site, and she does a multi-layered approach too.
Okay, all right, great. And in terms of her success, again, I know I'm not challenging you making that decision.
No.
If I want to be the world's best driver, I probably want to work with the world's best teacher.
Yes, I'm happy with her approach. She has her own her own record, and what she does with her own business, and what she's done with her marketing. Yeah,
just making sure you're doing that true, because there is, for those people watching this later on, there is the I would say undisputed king of funnels and doing all that sort of stuff, which is, I don't know if you can now see that. There we go. $100 million leads by Alex.
Yeah, I've heard of Alex. Yeah.
Modi, right?
Yeah.
He built in 5 years, I think it's $240 million funnel business. Now, I would say that's pretty cool in terms of using Insta and everything you've just said. So if you don't or can't or want somebody who's not necessarily in the hospitality, read this book. Brilliant. It's expensive book, so he's obviously earning a bit of cash off books as well, but it is worth it. He's got 2 books.
Brilliant, thank you.
So yes, I would suggest that. But over that, so we've got great teachers who are going to tell us how to do the actual practicalities. You've done your market research. You're going to speak to other people to get it as fine-tuned as possible. And bearing in mind, Alex says for every campaign he does 100 versions. Your version, first off, may not succeed. It might, but it may not.
Yeah.
But you need to do at least a few, because whatever you write will work eventually when you hit the right spot. So when I used to do Facebook ads for seminars, I did 15 versions with the only thing that changed was the photo. And then it was like redhead girl was #1, right? She was just sat in the front row. That's how you could recognize it. That was the most, only by 3%, but I want that 3%.
Yeah. The other person that I followed, Jeremy, is George Kao. I don't know if you've come across any of his work.
Yes, I have. Yes.
And he talks about that. He is like a holistic view of it, and he talks about doing like various versions and testing it. And I like that. I like that approach. I've been trying to change the title, so I've been playing the title, and that would be my variable to change to then measure.
Yeah, I mean, we're touching on marketing now, but I want to get back to fear.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So look, preparation.
Yep.
Fear is basically telling you you don't know what's going to happen. So stop, pause, think, work out a plan.
Mm.
So it sounds like you've got pretty much most of the components. You've got highly skilled support. You've got market research.
Yeah.
You haven't done it before, but it's being done by millions of people right now. So it's a proven system.
Yeah.
If we find evidence of where it's real in the fact that your fear of sending out emails or generating interest in a new product, we've done it before, so you can evidence that in both it will work and it won't work.
Mm.
Presumably when it didn't work, you took a few learnings. Presumably when it didn't work, you weren't going to make those same mistakes again, or be aware of those situations to be able to be prepared.
Yeah.
That's with all of that stuff. How fearful do you feel now?
No, to be honest with you, you feel silly that it's even a concern, to be honest with you, when you break it down like that. I think it's when it's then looking at it, it's one component in 100 things that you want to do as part of your plan. So I think it's working on several unknown factors that compound, that create a bigger fear. But in reality, it's not a problem.
Absolutely.
In the scheme of things, it just feels irrational in the moment.
Absolutely, 100%. And this is what we do with coaching. Even I had this 2 weeks ago with my coach. And I was like, oh, the weight of the world, blah, blah, blah. This is all going to go, blah, blah, blah. All that sort of stuff. Just take a moment, talk it through, realize the fact there are always options, and come through, having that chat. I mean, this is why coaching works. Had that chat and I've had my best month ever.
Yeah.
So, it just literally in the space of a few minutes or half an hour, an hour, whatever it might be, you can change your whole world. Because it only took 1 minute to get there in the first place.
Exactly.
So it might take a few more to get out, but it's all possible. You can change yourself in that way.
Yeah.
So acknowledge it,
face
up to it, support yourself with people who will take you to the next position, i.e., what can I learn? What do I need to know? What am I missing? What could be the outcomes? Just find some evidence that is, if that fear happened, that result will happen. Let's find evidence that it will. Let's find evidence that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because then the fear of the unknown goes away. So there's loads more we could do on this, but we are, I say, slightly over in time, and I'm conscious of letting others go and do what they're supposed to be doing. So as we always end everything, what's the number one takeaway from today? What's the number one learning you've got from today, Louise?
Mine. I was going to say mind my language, but mind my language. Face the belief, acknowledge the belief behind the fear. And you asked for one thing, but look for the evidence. So there's 3.
You're abundant. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Louise.
No, thank you.
We asked out as much as you did today, and good luck with the program. Not that you need luck, you just need to be consistent.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and thanks, Karen, for hosting.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Bye.